You know, uh, you know that heavy, sinking guilt you feel when you have just been staring at a wall for an hour instead of working?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right, and you just sit there asking yourself, am I just being lazy? Because we tend to treat productivity like it is a symbol switch, like it
Yeah.
is either on or off.
Yeah, but looking at the diagnostic landscape today, that switch isn't just broken, it is completely wired wrong.
Hmm.
We are facing this massive epidemic of misdiagnosed exhaustion.
Which is why our mission in this deep dive is to unpack our source notes and draw a really hard line between laziness and something that is, frankly, far more insidious, which is burnout.
Right, and we really need to figure this out. The data shows burnout affects a staggering 75% of adults in the U.S.
Wow, 75%.
Yeah, and over 40% are experiencing it severely. It is huge.
Yeah.
So before we even look at the symptoms, we have to understand the fundamental difference in who these conditions actually affect.
Right, the baseline trait versus state thing.
Exactly. Laziness is actually a stable character trait. Like a truly lazy person typically lacks the desire to exert effort right from the very beginning. They just do not want to do it.
Okay, let's unpack this. So laziness is like, it is like a car that was simply never built with a strong engine. It is just designed to coast, you know?
That is a great way to put it, yeah.
But burnout isn't just a powerful car running out of gas. It is like a high-performance sports car where the driver has basically taken the gas pedal to the floor.
Right, exactly.
The engine is running perfectly, but because you refuse to pull over for a pit stop, that engine eventually just overheats and destroys itself.
Yeah, and the danger of that taped down gas pedal is that the driver usually doesn't realize the engine is melting until smoke is pouring out from under the hood.
Which is terrifying.
It really is. And what's fascinating here is that burnout doesn't happen overnight. It develops through 5 distinct stages.
5 stages, okay.
Yeah, starting deceptively with a honeymoon phase, then moving into the onset of stress, crossing over into chronic stress, hitting full burnout, and finally settling into habitual burnout.
Wait, hold on. A honeymoon phase? If someone is burning out, shouldn't they be, miserable from day one? Like, how does overenthusiasm trigger a psychological breakdown?
Well, because the dopamine rush of a brand new project or maybe a new job, it actually masks the physiological cost of the work you were doing.
Oh, so you feel invincible.
Exactly. You feel invincible, so you overcommit, right? You ignore your own boundaries, and when that initial dopamine fades, the massive workload remains.
Ah, and that is the trap.
Right. That is how your brain crosses the threshold into the second and the third stages, the onset of stress and chronic stress. Your body's alarm system basically gets stuck in the on position.
So it is just flooding you with cortisol.
Exactly. Flooding you with cortisol until your system just cannot sustain it anymore.
So the engine is running incredibly hot. What does that actually look like for the person behind the wheel?
Well, one of the most glaring warning signs is depersonalization. You start feeling emotionally numb.
Almost like you are an outside observer of your own life.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And there is a specific biological reason for this. It is a psychological defense mechanism. Your brain is literally cutting off emotional circuits to conserve your severely depleted energy.
Wow. That has to create massive internal friction, right?
Oh, absolutely. It leads to sudden mood swings and volatility. Remember, truly lazy people are usually quite relaxed.
Right, because they are coasting.
Exactly. But someone burning out becomes irritable because their brain is constantly in triage mode. They start neglecting basic self-care like sleep and nutrition.
And withdrawing socially, I imagine?
Yeah, because even holding a conversation requires energy they just do not have.
Here's where it gets really interesting. If we look at how that emotional triage plays out, our source notes point to a tragically ironic symptom, which is the complete loss of passion.
Oh yeah, that is a huge one.
Right, like burnout doesn't just make you tired, it makes you actively resent the very talents, sports, or academic pursuits you once loved most.
Because your brain now associates them with this overwhelming threat to your energy reserves. You start to hate the things that used to fuel you.
That is so sad.
It is. Which brings us to why recognizing these mechanisms isn't just about accurately labeling your feelings. It is about urgent intervention.
Because of that 5th stage you mentioned.
Exactly. If you push through to that final stage, habitual burnout, the mental and physical exhaustion becomes chronic. At that point, the structural changes in how you process stress make you highly vulnerable to clinical anxiety and depression.
Which is serious stuff.
Very serious.
Yeah.
The source material emphasizes that early recognition is key. Seeking help from mental health professionals is completely crucial before your brain fundamentally wires itself into that habitual phase.
So what does this all mean? I mean, it means we need to radically reframe how we view our own downtime.
Absolutely.
Taking your foot off the gas pedal isn't a waste of time. Resting isn't laziness, it is just necessary, non-negotiable maintenance.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, applying this knowledge means actively listening to your internal check engine light instead of, constantly trying to outwork it.
Which leaves us with a rather uncomfortable question to ponder, honestly.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Right. If burnout actually begins with that highly productive, enthusiastic honeymoon phase,
Yeah.
when we applaud people for taking on massive new projects and working around the clock, are we accidentally cheering each other on as we take our very first steps toward burnout?